All the rumors are true. Danielle is having a baby.
What?
Let's talk about it. I thought this was an interesting episode. I don't have a whole lot of notes on it, but who knows? I might just start talking and this might be the regular length. Okay, everybody, I'm going to do this review a little bit different than I've done the other ones. The other ones I started at the beginning of the show and kind of talked my way through it. Instead, this time I'm going to go family by family by family and talk about everything we saw in the show with each family, so we're not jumping all around. Let me know down below afterwards if you like this new format or not. So the Salhudin family, forgive me if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, they were not on this episode at all. There's usually one family that's not highlighted and not covered in an episode. It's never the Merrifields. The Merrifields, they cover about half the episode of every episode because, I mean, you know why. If you're watching the show, you know why. And I'm grateful for it. I think they should. It's by far the juiciest storyline on the show. So we'll save them for last. Let's talk about some of the other ones who are kind of crazy in different ways or had some interesting information. Let's start with the least interesting. That would be nothing like roping people in, right? Oh my goodness. Supposed to put the best stuff at the beginning, I think. I don't know. What do I know about YouTube algorithms? Nothing. Clearly, because we're going to start with the Davis family. Well, there's not a whole lot to say about the Davis family. They weren't highlighted or featured much on the show at all. We do see them roasting marshmallows in their backyard. And this is the same day that they were in the smash room where they were smashing all the stuff. The ladies were in the smash room. The sisters, I guess, were smashing things in the smash room, and then they went out to eat. Now, to refresh your memory, this was only 2 weeks after Danielle had a major meltdown. I can't deal with this. I can't deal with a new sister wife. She picks up, she leaves, she actually gets an apartment, which she obviously still has. But she's moved back into the house and said, okay, had a nice conversation with April. April said, we're going to give you the time to acclimate to this. And in fairness, Danielle did know this was the plan when she married into the family. So it's not like they sprung this on her. So I thought all was well, except that this is literally only 2 weeks later. Okay, 2 weeks have gone by and you smashed a bunch of plates. Are you ready for a sister wife? I know there's a lot of anti-April people out there, and I was not one of them. But last episode is when I started to say, do you really care about what Danielle thinks? Because clearly after only 2 weeks, there's no way she's going to want this major life change to go back. And if she says she does, it's a lie. Or it's her trying to appease them, but still a lie. All right, so in the Talking Head interview, we have Danielle here saying that she admits this is still scary for her, especially because she is now going to legally be married to another wife, which is just mean and rude to make somebody do. She's not in love with this other person.
Are you sure this is legal?
I don't know.
That should have been the deal breaker for Danielle right at the beginning, and she should have said, no, I'm not part of this. I really think that's a big part of what's holding Danielle up, to be honest with you. Okay, so she goes on and she says she is still terrified, her words, still terrified, but not showing that with anyone. Emotional maturity down here. I don't think she's ready for another sister wife. I don't know if she was ready to ever marry into this family, quite frankly, but here we are. So she says in the Talking Head she's terrified about all this, but she's not sharing it with anyone. When Nick says around the fire, when they're sitting there roasting marshmallows, what do you think, Danielle? Are you ready? We don't want you to up and run. We want you to be on board. She says, excitedly, yeah, let's find a wife. So everyone's like, yeah, all for one and one for all. Inside, she wants nothing to do with this. She's terrified. There's no way this is going to go well. There's no way. And that's all we have about the Davis family. Okay, we kind of have 2 sad stories, so I'm going to split them up. One of the sad stories is Sean and Ashley Sherwood. Now, remember, this is the couple that they were trying to find a sister wife, as they called it, for Ashley. There would be a female that she would be in a relationship with, but she wouldn't be in a relationship with Sean at all. Well, we got a lot more information on this episode. Sean gets together with his buddy Charlie, and he starts just sharing how things are going, how the new girl, Sarah, is fitting in, and how she really seems to be close to Ashley, but he's not sure. He thinks that Sarah might just want to take Ashley away from him, and that really scares him. Okay, not really big news at this point, right? In fact, I think that might even been the preview for this show. Sean had a really sweet thing that he said at one point. He said that he's very skeptical of Sarah and all that, but then he said, no one is ever going to be good enough for Ashley in my eyes. That was so sweet. So he admits that he's probably going to find faults with everybody. But then we get into the story of why they're doing this. Remember at the beginning I kept saying, like, this is crazy. We're just trying to find a side piece for her. What's this got to do with Sister Wives? What's going on here? Okay, still we could say, what's this got to do with Sister Wives? But here's more of the story. Sean said that the two of them started this journey to find another person last year because last year he was diagnosed with kidney cancer. He said that they had surgery. It was technically successful and he's in remission, but it's fully expected to come back. Like, they know he's not done. And it sounds to me like the cure rates of whatever cancer he had are very low. So they are appreciating the fact that he's in remission right now, but also he is supposed to be going back for a screening, which he has been putting off. He just doesn't want to hear what they have to say. And Ashley admits that it's been on her mind too, but she hasn't been pushing him to go because she's scared as well. Now, first of all, he mentions it to his buddy. Okay, so his buddy obviously knows about the cancer. We cut back and forth also between him talking on the couch. He and Ashley are sitting on the couch and they're talking about the situation. Soon as he starts sharing about the cancer and how he has to go back, and tears just start streaming down Ashley's face. It was such a sweet, nice, tender moment. I had doubts the past few episodes, thinking maybe Ashley just wants to get out of this relationship. It seems clear that Sean would do anything for Ashley, but maybe Ashley is not so into Sean, so she's just trying to find something new, and then she and the new girl will kick him by the curb, which is kind of odd because they have a small child and she's pregnant with the second one, so it seems like things are going well, but I just had my suspicions. I don't even think I ever verbalized that on any of the reviews I've done. You can see the love the two of them have for each other in this episode, and I thought it was very touching. Ashley's very concerned for him. He's very concerned for him, obviously. Finding somebody for Ashley is Sean's way of seeing to it that if he's not around, she has somebody in her life that loves her, which makes sense now why he was upset when Sarah said, basically, yeah, I've been with other couples before, but they just kind of call me in a couple times a year for a good time. And I think that she had interactions with both people in the relationship. So for her, this is very different, that she would only be with one of the partners. And she's never had a relationship. It's always been, call me when you want a good time. And this is why Sean and Ashley really want a relationship. Because the way they're talking, it seems inevitable that his life isn't going to be long. Oh, it's heartbreaking. Back with Sean meeting with his friend Charlie. He breaks down as he's talking about this to Charlie, and Charlie gives him a big hug. And that was just a tender moment too. It was an interesting twist in the Sean and Ashley storyline. I mean, one that nobody wants, but it really makes all the puzzle pieces come together now and understand what's happening and why they're doing what they're doing when they're doing it. That was a question I brought up many times. Like, she's so pregnant. Why are they looking for somebody now? I think that he even said something to the effect of he wants her to have somebody at the time he goes in for his next surgery, because he doesn't feel hopeful that that's going to turn out well. Okay, sad story number 1. That's all we had in this episode about it. Take a little breather and go over to the Ryans. They're jumping back on the bandwagon. Attempt number 3 at finding a sister wife. Justin found somebody through an app that he already he's been talking with for a while, a few months. So the timelines are really weird on these shows because this one is like a few months later, whereas the Davis family was literally the same day. So the editing, it's classic TLC editing. What am I talking about?
Typical.
Very sister-wife-ish. I wish they would just fire all their editors, get new ones in. Or maybe it's the director or producer that's guiding it to be this way. Maybe it's not the editor's fault. They're just following the commands of everyone else. I don't know. Anyway, this one seems to be a month later. Justin has been chatting with this girl online, and he met her once. And he explained to her that he is married and this is going to be a sister-wife situation. She was shocked. He hadn't told her before the date about it. It was on his profile, but he said it was very clear as they were texting back and forth that she was not understanding. Also, English is her second language. Let me just put that out there. She's Latino or something. I believe she speaks Spanish. Maybe Portuguese. If she speaks Portuguese, we could have Derek propose to her now that he's learned how to propose in Portuguese. Okay, I digress. So he's going on a longer official date with her, cameras in tow. And he's getting ready in the bedroom, and Becky is as giddy as a schoolgirl. She is acting like a mama whose son never went on a date, and he's 24 years old, still living at home, and he's going on his first date. That's how she handled him. Figuring out what he's wearing, figuring out what he looks like, taking him to go get his hair cut. Oh my goodness. What else?
Don't get it all what you got. You still gotta put your shirt on. Tonight, Justin is gonna go on a date with Yari. All right, so don't forget to pull out the chair when she goes to sit down. Like, you gotta wow her.
Oh, I know. She's reminding him. You need to open the doors for her. You need to pull out her chair. Don't forget to pull out her chair. Which, can I just say, he forgot to pull out her chair.
Hola, Mama.
Hola.
How are you? Good. I'll take this one.
Not only did he forget to pull out her chair, but he was sitting in this one seat. Now, he hadn't ordered or anything. He was just waiting for her. She gets there. He gets up, maybe gave her a hug probably. And then they walk to the table, and she goes to the seat where he was and grabs it. And he goes, "No, you're over there." He doesn't walk over there and pull her seat out for her or just let her sit in that seat. I mean, maybe he had a water there that he could have moved over. I mean, he's like, go down to the other end of the table. This is my seat. And he just pulls his own chair out and sits down. No wonder Becky had to remind him. Zero chivalry. Becky's going to be upset when she watches this on TV. If they don't work out, she's going to be like, "You never pulled out her chair." Okay, right before he goes, she reminds him, no intimacy on this date. He's like, "Yes, no, I know." And they said in their talking heads that because there was sexual relations between Justin and Stephanie in the past, they decided, maybe this isn't a good idea until we have a commitment. Although I feel like they thought they had a commitment from Stephanie, but then she kept ghosting him. But that was just a mess. And yet, when they got together, apparently he was sleeping with her. So now, no intimacy until there's a commitment. However, Becky goes on to say, only kissing.
That's intimacy.
Oh yeah, kissing's not intimate at all. I kiss every guy I see on the street. All right, so intimacy means sexual intercourse. Got it. Everything prior to that, not intimacy. I love the new rules and definitions these families come up with. So the girl's name is Yari. And Becky explains in her talking head that Yari is Justin's type. And he agrees. And this is why.
Becky told me Yari's my type because she had like workout pictures in her profile. And she just knew that I'm attracted to Arabic women, Latina women, and she's super hot.
Oh, superficial. And he even admits, it kind of sounds superficial, but yeah, it does. And we wonder why these relationships don't work out. Stevie Wonder could see why Justin has not been successful in finding a sister wife for the past 15, 20 years. He's just trying to find a pretty girl with a good body. He and Garrick could be brothers.
They're the worst.
So they sit down and they start eating, and Justin kind of explains again about the situation. And I will say that Yari seems very sweet. She seems mature. She's a divorced mom of a boy, single mom of a boy who she had to raise on her own. She's, cautious about that, cautious about relationships, been hurt in the past, and is asking questions to Justin about, like, exactly how is this going to work? Like, do you and I still go on dates? Does Becky come with us? Is she around at all? Is there a you're with her at times and me at times? Like, she's so confused and doesn't really understand polygamy at all. Understandably, most don't. We wouldn't if we weren't addicted to these shows. And Justin, no answers. Has no answers for her. He's like, yeah, well, I don't, not really sure. We'll see how it goes. What? You're wanting her to enter into this crazy relationship, something she's never seen before in her life, and she wants to know exactly how this is going to work out, and you haven't thought through it yet. You have no rules, no parameters. I feel like Becky would have been able to, spit it all out in a row. This is exactly how it's going to go. That's my impression of Becky. Justin, I don't know. I'm just trying to sleep with you. That's where he's coming from. I mean, we'll do it however you want. We get to the end of the date, and Justin goes in for a kiss, asks about a kiss. She kind of says no. He's like, what? That kind of manipulative sort of thing. He eventually gets a kiss from her. And of course, she's giving him the pecks. And he's like, what, no tongue?
They're so gross.
And she's like, yeah, no tongue.
Do I get a kiss, can I? Nobody's looking.
Thank you for your time.
That's it?
Yeah. What?
No tongue.
No.
I know how you are. Okay.
In the talking head afterwards, she was talking about it, and they must have asked her about the kiss. I feel like Yari may not have loved it.
This was my first kiss with Justin. It was good.
And then we wrap up their storyline by having Yari in an interview say, if I decide to have him just for me, we'll see what he will do.
I don't think that's how it works.
Yeah, I don't think she's understanding polygamy. I almost feel like she sees it as maybe this is a competition? I don't know. Maybe he just doesn't like his first wife, but she's still there, but really I just want a relationship with you. I don't know. What on God's green earth attracts her to this man? There's nothing about his personality that is like, whoa, I want to be with him. Nothing. Although their family does have money. Nice big house. And their MO is to give these potential sister wives a lot of money, pay for a lot of things for them. So maybe as a single mom, she's hopeful that this might just turn into a relationship between the two of them and she'll have financial stability for the rest of her life. It's possible. If she really thinks, though, that she has the potential of having just him, it might just be the language barrier where she's not quite getting it. So we end this review talking about the Merrifields.
I'm creeped out already.
And talk about timelines. One of the stories was the same day. Another one of the stories was like 3 weeks later. This is a good month, actually 6 weeks I think she said it was, since the last episode. Garrick has been down in Brazil. He's been with Natalia this whole time. Not sure what's happening with the business. Not sure that Garrick cares. So he's down there. They're working on the marriage license thing. And they're planning their wedding. We have Danielle back at home. And she's kind of looking at clothes. She's packing to go down to Brazil. Because this weekend she was going to go down there because Garrick and Natalia are planning on getting married this weekend. Which apparently is still not set in stone, and they're still having issues with the license. I'm not sure. And of course, he doesn't speak a lick of Portuguese, so he can't be any help there whatsoever. I don't know how Natalia's dealing with him. Danielle admits that Garrick went down there for a longer period of time than what they initially planned because they needed this break from each other in their relationship. Okay, not a good sign. Not a good sign at all. If you're having trouble in your relationship, I understand wanting to kick your husband out for 6 weeks. Okay. But to kick him into the bed of another woman?
I don't get that. I don't.
Can't possibly help. But that was their plan. That's what they did. So her sister-in-law, Samantha, comes over. Samantha and Sam. Remember the last episode? Couldn't remember their names. Sam and Samantha. So Samantha comes over, the sister-in-law. Sam is Danielle's brother. Okay. His wife, Samantha, comes over. She's going to help Danielle pack to go on this trip. And she does her usual, how you doing? This is a pretty dress, She's like a woman of few words, does not rock the boat, does not challenge, just listen. She's a sounding board. Samantha in a talking head shares that before Garrick left for this trip, that their relationship for that month after they had come back was very rocky, to the point that Garrick would call them up and ask to spend the night on occasions at their house to get out of his house. That's bad. That's bad. Danielle says a lot of the friction that they have is because she feels Natalia pulling away, and not really being a good sister wife or even wanting to be a sister wife to Danielle. She seems only interested in Garrick. Garrick doesn't seem to care. He leaves to go with Natalia anyway and stays down there longer than he would have, which makes me think he left earlier than anticipated. So Samantha is trying to be helpful, and she's looking through Danielle's closet, and she's like, oh, this is a pretty dress. Why don't you do this one? Danielle's like, yeah, I like that dress. I've never worn it before, but I don't think it would look good on me pregnant. And so Samantha's like, what? And Danielle's like, yeah, I'm pregnant. Samantha, of course, is like, I mean, talk about throwing fuel on a fire. Their situation is such a volatile mess right now. And she's going to have a baby? Garrick's baby? I did hear or read somewhere that it's a girl, which makes me happy for Danielle. That could be just a rumor or a guess. I don't know. I have no facts. At first, when I found out she was pregnant, I was thinking she did this on purpose to keep Garrick close to her, because he can't up and leave with a baby at home. Or could he? I mean, Garrick would find some sort of scripture to manipulate that says, God told me I'm supposed to leave the baby. It's your baby. I'm supposed to be with Natalia and have a different baby. He'd find that somewhere in the Bible. So I quickly dismissed the idea that she was doing it just to keep him close, because as the episode goes on, I feel like she's pretty distraught over the state of their marriage. And so this baby is just kind of creating more anxiety for her. Danielle shares she's not excited about going on this trip at all. Samantha is probably thinking, okay, yeah, because of the baby. And Danielle shares, well, I don't feel like Natalia really wants me there. I don't feel like she's being a good sister wife. And she never invited me to be there for the wedding. I feel like I'd be a third wheel. I never got invited. If these aren't red flags that Garrick could say, yeah, this doesn't seem to be working out that well. I can't. And I don't know what Danielle needs to do to have Natalia include her more. I get she's probably comparing Natalia to Roberta, and Roberta was more affectionate and open, and she communicated a lot with Danielle. So no two people are going to be the same, but I don't know that Danielle has shared with her what the expectations of their relationships should be, so this might be on Danielle. Then again, Garrick saw her blow up, which I gave her a pass for just because of this whole crazy situation, but she did really blow up on him because Natalia wasn't returning her calls or responding to her texts. Why Garrick doesn't step in and talk to Natalia, since she tends to contact him multiple times a day, and say, you have to call my wife or my ex-wife. You have to call my first wife. You can't just keep calling me. This is supposed to be a relationship with all of us. But because Natalia's not doing it, not a deal breaker. Garrick picks up and leaves and goes to see her anyway, early, for more time.
He's a jerk.
Well, then we get to a scene where Danielle FaceTimes Garrick. And Garrick has to throw in when she's like, how you doing? What's going on? Oh, good. Just got back from the beach. Hope you're enjoying your 6-week vacation. But thanks for sharing that you were at the beach. Just got back. Garrick, no awareness. Clueless. Clearly, because he's in Brazil right now with another girl. Poor Danielle. She's watching the boys, probably driving them around, this, that, and the other, keeping the home front down, making sure everything's okay at home, cooking the meals, paying the bills, probably handling stuff for his business while he's away. Oh, and did I mention she's pregnant too? She's doing all this, and then she gets a phone call. I just got back from the beach.
I'm gonna hang up right now.
Yay, good for you, Garrick. He just has a special way of making you like him less and less. So they're talking. She said, the wedding's supposed to be this weekend, right? And he's like, yeah, hopefully everything will come through. So it's still up in the air. Natalia's not around. Apparently she had left, and she was looking for wedding dresses. Danielle didn't seem thrilled about that, but they moved on.
You're making it worse.
And Danielle does share, saying it doesn't seem like she wants me there. Garrick basically agrees, but says, it'll be better when you get here. I know she didn't invite you, and I know it's very clear that she doesn't want you here and that she wants this to be a marriage just between the two of us, but I'm sure everything will be better once you get here in person.
This is delusional.
Is Garrick trying to make things work out between these two women? Because if he is, and this is just still where Natalia is, this marriage is just going to be a hot mess. Or is he just clueless? Is he just hanging out at the beach and sleeping with her and enjoying himself on his little vacation for a month and a half? Has he maybe not even tried to get Natalia to see Danielle's point of view? If I was a betting woman, I'd bet B, but I don't know. I mean, neither's a good option. It's like pick your poison. The worst of two evils. This wedding should not go forward, but clearly Garrick is going to see to it that it does. And then she becomes his legal wife, and Danielle has claim to nothing.
This is it's a mess. This is a real mess.
When he first proposed this and she was still married to him, she should have up and run at that moment. Or the moment he proposed and suggested to Danielle that they get a divorce so he can marry someone in another country, she should have up and run. She could have cleaned up at that point. She was a legal wife. She has 2 kids. Take them to the cleaners. That's what she should have done. She's stuck now. And since my last video, I did get more reminders of previous seasons. I'm like, oh, right. This house that they're in now, that they built, it has a whole in-law suite for Danielle's parents. Yeah. Not so easy to just cut ties and walk away. And the brother, Sam, works for Derek. Maybe Samantha does too. She's always dressed in the attire of the Merrickfield Construction something company, I don't know. Whatever their business name is, she wears the same kind of attire. She might just be doing it for the show, but maybe she works for them too. And thank you all for filling me in, because I've forgotten. Been a couple years. Some of you are brand new to Seeking Sister Wives, so you started at the beginning to watch it all. But because I watched the previous seasons, I just kind of rely on my memory.
Oh, don't do that.
I should go back and watch it too. So much I need to watch. But you did point out to me, and now it's coming back, that Garrick is estranged from his parents as soon as he chose to live a polygamous lifestyle, and that he believed God was speaking to him that he should have multiple wives. His family cut him off. Obviously didn't make a difference. So now he saw to it that he brought Danielle's parents into the house, into the fold. Danielle can't leave right now. She's stuck. Mom and Dad are living down the hall, or maybe in a cottage right next door. I don't know, on the same property. And this is probably why her mom and dad don't say anything and don't challenge Garrick. They're financially dependent on him. Oh, what a mess. And I bet Garrick has all their finances in his name. And right now, Danielle has nothing, because she's not even married to him. Oh my goodness, what a mess this is. She got herself in a pickle. So we go back to the show, and this is where it just started getting sad, because I just wrote down here that Danielle just does not seem happy or excited about this news that she needs to share. But she goes ahead and she lets him know that she's pregnant. And honest to God, I wrote down here, my eyes teared up when I saw his reaction. Nothing. Not a crack of a smile. No words of affirmation, comfort, excitement. Nothing. Just staring at her like, oh no, don't say that.
Well, I guess, I found out yesterday that I'm pregnant.
Oh, it was terrible. Eventually he says, well, babies are a blessing from the Lord. Oh, it's devastating.
Well, children are a blessing from God, so, you know, it's a blessing. I definitely didn't expect that.
Yeah.
He can't. He did in the conversation later on before he got off the phone say, oh, I'm happy for you and the baby. This is a blessing. You know, like he kind of tried later on to reiterate it, that it was going to be okay in sort of his Garrick way. Pretty lame, but it was bad and sad. Danielle goes on saying that she feels like she'll be a third wheel if she does come down to the wedding, and Garrick says, yeah, but just what he says about everything, right? He's always like, yeah, but, and then I'm dismissing everything you're saying and I'm going to go in this other direction. I think it's too early to find another sister wife. Yeah, but when God talks to you, you gotta listen. So he says, yeah, but I think once you get here, she'll be happy. Ya think?
No, I don't think so.
And you started off with, yeah, agreeing with her that she would be a third wheel at your wedding? Oh, I think once you get here, she'll be happy. Clearly indicating she's not happy right now with the idea of Danielle coming. There's no words. Danielle doesn't agree with him. She doesn't think she's going to be happy when she gets there. And Danielle says, I'm just not going to come. Good for you, Danielle. Don't support it. Don't look like you're supporting this. Spend that time with a good lawyer. That's what you need to do. He's gone for 6 weeks. You should have retained a really good lawyer at this time and start putting everything in order. I wonder if she has access to his accounts while she's there and he's away. She could siphon all the money into something in her name. Or she could, if nothing else, put both their names on everything. While he's gone, make sure her name's on the house, make sure her name's on the cars, make sure her name's on all the bank accounts, all the investments, the retirement account. I mean, that's what she should be doing. Oh, that was the end of the episode. What a sticky situation. My heart breaks for Danielle, but Danielle also got herself into this situation, you know? So it's like I'm a little bit torn where I want to give her a hug and then take her by the shoulders and shake her really hard. I mean, it's hard to do reviews on this because it's so unrelatable. It's so far out there that it's nuts to me. And probably you too, which is why we're all watching this and watching reviews on it, right? So we can all just talk through it and go, am I crazy? Or is this situation insane? And then you can listen to somebody else online going, this is insane. And you're like, that's what I thought. That's what I always did before I had a channel of my own. But now I can just put it out there. All right, let me know what you think about this episode. Do you think that the wedding happens with Garrick and Natalia? Do you think Danielle's going to find ways to get out and is setting herself up financially so that she has something when she leaves? Do you think that Sean and Ashley are going to solidify things with Sarah? Do you think Sarah hears about the situation and starts to maybe fall in love with Ashley? Do you think Yari ends up being a sister wife with Justin and Becky? Oh, finally, what's your prediction with Danielle when a new sister wife is introduced into their family since she has now given the green light? Write it down below, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
What? That was crazy!